The all-American half pound of 2 pure beef patties, lettuce, tomato.
Singles going steady.
This is Singles Going Steady, the podcast dedicated to exploring great singles with a particular eye to the punk, new wave, and DIY eras of the last century. I'm Adrienne Meddock.
I'm Steve McGowan. We have a band, The Beef People. We released a single in 1986 on our own label, Zub Records Limited Company. But we are record collectors, and we're passionate about the expression of pop music perfection that we know as the single recording. Exploring the mystery of what makes for a great single is what propelled us to begin this podcast.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah, that was a mouthful today, wasn't it?
It is.
That plunk record, you know. This is episode 018. Yes, we had to look at each other and make sure we got that right. 018, and we are going to talk about yet another Boston band. We've been on a little vein of Boston Mass bands, and this is a very interesting and different band, not on Ace of Hearts Records. They are called Human Sexual Response, and they were around from what years was it?
Yeah, I think the late 70s to 82. So
Yeah.
they broke up just sort of on the cusp of the indie revolution.
Right. They were a little bit ahead of their time, I would say. And this single is from their album Figure 14. It was released in 1981. The single was released in 1981. It's actually the British version of the single. They were on Passport Records in the U.S., and on a small label called Don't Fall Off the Mountain in the UK. Human Sexual Response. It's kind of their theme song. It's called What Does Sex Mean to Me? And the B-side is a cover of the old Capitol song Cool Jerk, which you'll probably be familiar with. So this is a very interesting band. They have, it's a 3-piece rock band, guitar, bass, and drums. And they have 4 singers.
Yeah, it's one of the first bands I ever saw that had such an emphasis on vocals.
Yes, very.
So, there was this choral
aspect to it.
Yeah, where you had the 4 really great singers.
They were all extremely
across
good.
the front when they played.
Yeah.
But, it wasn't that the band was an afterthought. It wasn't.
The band was great, but it wasn't all, guys posing with guitars, the band, the 4 singers, 3 boys and 1 girl, or men and women even, and just, really killing it with the vocals. And the themes in their music are very interesting, very different. And
sexual revolution, sexual acceptance, sexual differences.
A lot of sex stuff. And we're going to listen to it right now. And this
but
is
not lurid sex stuff.
No.
I mean, like sex positive.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Good point, Adrienne. We're going to listen to it now, and this is a hilarious song, and it's really well put together. And it's Human Sexual Response, What Does Sex Mean to Me, 1981.
Sitting next to the high report. sex mean to me? And what does sex mean to society? What does sex mean to me? What does sex mean to me? What does sex mean to me? I see another baby born, one more mouth to feed. Sometimes I can't comprehend this urge to breed. Barely travel through a crowded land where people love each other as they love the state. They love their work is love. Love is no excuse to procreate. Their party slogan reads, and I quote, making love is a mental disease that wastes time and depletes our energies. So I ask, what does sex mean to me? And what does sex mean to society? What does sex mean to me? 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 I see a couple walking hand in hand. What does sex mean to them? Worried women switch from pills to diaphragms. What does sex mean to them? My parents wonder how they made me what I am. What does sex mean to them? What does sex mean to me? What does sex mean to me? What does sex mean to me? I wonder what you think about when you lie there in bed. Someday I think I'll find you out, push my finger through your forehead. It's just a kind of acupuncture, wisdom from the east. When my finger presses your third eye, your secret life is released. What does sex mean to me? What does sex mean to me? What does sex mean to me?
I think part of the humor that they tap into is the attempt to have a scientific explanation for human sexuality.
Right.
And you had the Kinsey report coming out in the 50s, and Masters and Johnson and Human Sexual Response, the
Right.
namesake of the band, coming out in the 60s. Sort of explaining about the great, rainbow that is human sexuality and human sexual response. And of course, human sexual response, that phrase in Masters and Johnson refers to actually a discovery that they made about the human sexual response cycle, that they go into great detail. And I don't know if you've caught the Showtime Masters of Sex. I'm a big fan of Michael Sheen and Lizzie Kaplan as Masters and Johnson, sort of a fictionalized version of that. And I don't know if I'll save that for a recommendation or not. I'll have to dwell on it while we're talking.
Right.
But that acceptance and the wide array of human behavior is really sort of a passion, a tenet of the band, I think.
Absolutely.
And you see that with the egalitarian four singers working together, men and women, no differentiation, different sexualities,
Definitely.
gay, straight, in between.
Right. Fluid.
Yes.
Very cool for a rock band in the early 80s. They mentioned the height report. There's a line in there about licking Betty Ford's boots, and I read a story about one of the guys in the band actually worked at Filene's, the big department store in Boston downtown. And Betty,
people used to go to these things called stores rather than just go online and order things from Amazon. You'd actually have to go to a place.
So Betty Ford ordered these specific boots, and the guy was part of the mail order department, and he got to lick them before he sent them to Betty Ford. So it's all true.
To the fulfillment department.
Yes, it was what a fulfillment. But this is a great band. I was lucky enough to see them at the 688. They filled the stage. The four singers covered the front of the stage, and they just killed. It was a really, really good show. Their guitar player, Rich Gilbert, is just a demon on the guitar, playing the Les Paul and just going crazy. And the rhythm section is great.
And the vocals, just
it just blows you away. Yes, it's almost operatic sometimes. Yes, the way they put their voices together, it's very clever, very well done, and not like anything else you would hear.
No, they were sui generis. They were their own thing, unlike anything else.
But the one song that they did on the B side of the single is definitely like somebody else. It's an old song by the Capitals. It's called "Cool Jerk." The Go-Go's did it. Lots of bands covered this song. We're going to play you just a little bit of the original version by the Capitals. I think it was 1966 or 65, right somewhere in that period. Them doing "Cool Jerk." Let's listen to a little bit of it now. All right, that was the Capitals and "Cool Jerk." Very, very neat little song. A lot of boasting going on in that. And we're going to play you the B-side of this single, "What Does Sex Mean to Me?" It's called "The Cool Jerk" by Human Sexual Response, doing their version of this one. Let's listen to a little bit of it now.
Well,
Okay, there was the human sexual response to a cool jerk. Lots of fun. You can tell they're having a good time in the studio, tearing that one up. Do you hear somebody covering What Does Sex Mean to Me?
I think maybe Taylor Swift singing all 4 parts.
Oh, my God.
And, kind of onanistic, because I kind of get the sense, she's got like this robotic self-involvement.
Yes.
But so I think he could get...
So what does sex mean to her?
Yeah, and I think that it's will remain a rhetorical question as she would present it.
It's unknowable.
Yeah, exactly.
That is just amazing. I could never top that one.
Do you have any recommendations?
I do. This band was not around too long. They put out their first record is available on CD. The record was called Figure 14.
It's got a great cover because
yes.
it's got like the 50s Jell-O mold with the kids poking at the Jell-O mold, which is perfect
just
sexual illusion.
And so they re-released it later on CD with a couple extra tracks that we can't really talk about because some of them are kind of dirty. And it's called Figure 15. That's a great thing. And they put out a 12-inch single that we may talk about later called Pound. And they had kind of a lost second album, which is my recommendation, Human Sexual Response. It's called In a Roman Mood. Their second album has just recently been released on CD. There's a lot of great songs on it, including Land of the Glass Pine Cones.
Which is, when we talked about selecting the single, I was just thinking about hearing that live. It was just tremendous. I think he played the guitar with a bottle. With a beer bottle, it was
it's just beautiful. And I would definitely recommend that. Do you have anything you do?
Yeah, my recommendation is I'd like everybody to come out to my my new bicycle shop, which is called Human Sexual Response Cycle.
Oh yeah.
So come on out and support that. We've got pumps and various other accoutrements for your needs.
Yep. Patches.
Exactly.
Yep. Spokes. All right, this could go on
Sissy
forever.
Bars.
But let's not. So this is it. This was Singles Going Steady, number 018.
That's a bike thing. That was not in any sort of inappropriate comment.
No, we would never do that. 018, Human Sexual Response from Boston. What Does Sex Mean to Me with Cool Jerk. 1981, great single. Check it out. And we will talk to you next time. Thank you very much.
See you soon.
To learn more about the artists and recordings we just talked about, visit our website at zubrecords.com and click on the Singles Going Steady icon.
You'll also find links to the persons, places, and things we recommend, and much more.
You can find episodes of Singles Going Steady on our website or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Singles Going Steady is brought to you by the power and majesty of Zub Records. Zub Records. Smart sounds for sharp people.